It's time for a little bit of intellectual anarchy, where we engage in extreme truth, extreme common sense, and diversity of ideas. How's everyone doing today? I am your host, James Salazar, and welcome to Intellectual Anarchy. So, today I want to talk about, this week I want to talk about the difference. People are confusing a lot of things. And I just want to give you a basic difference between capitalism, socialism, and slavery. Okay? A lot of people have this confused. And you know the confusion where people are choosing socialism over capitalism. They really don't understand, but they hate slavery. And that is an oxymoron. So let me get into it. As you know, slavery is taking people and taking away their freedom and treating them like property, where you have no moral obligation to it. You can run into ground like a car. You know, you run your car down to the ground, you toss it aside, and most of the time you are treating people like an object as opposed to human beings. And you take away their freedom and you make them work your fields, or you make them do. Right now in America, there is definitely slavery, hidden slavery with sex workers and sex trafficking. People are forced to have sex with other people at the risk of their lives if they don't. So slavery is taking people's freedom for an individual. There's an individual who wants to take away your slavery, take away your freedom, so you can work for him without pay. Socialism is pretty much taking away your choices for the greater good of society. It is slavery, light, but you still don't have any choices. You're going to do what's good for the society, whether you like it or not. It's basically slavery for society, or lack of choices, or minimizing your choices to vary too. But you can't do what you want. You do what's best. And part of that, the means of production are controlled by the people. Not really. It just means the person who creates the business and saves the money for a business. They create the apparatus, and then it's equally distributed among the people. Well, it pretty much stole that business from the individual, so therefore people don't open businesses, and therefore there's a lack of jobs, because everybody wants to be the person working for the person. Of course, in America, or in places that believe in the free market or capitalism, free market capitalism is freedom, but not fair and not equal. This is the difference. Slavery is enslaving people for your own pleasure. Socialism is slavery light for the good of society. And capitalism is choice and freedom, but unfair and unequal. There's people who rise and there's people who fall. Some people do better, some people don't. Some people get an education, get more money, some people don't. And if you don't get your education and you didn't do it much and you have to be a housekeeper for the person who makes a lot of money, that happens in capitalism. Every decision is a transaction. Will you do this and I'll pay you that? And you go, okay, that sounds fair. That's the difference. And you might be working for a man who might be rich and you're making $15 an hour. And you might be, and many people will tell you that it's unfair that this man is able to have that much money. Now, the majority of existence, money was handed down and controlled by nobles and all that stuff. But there are more millionaires in America that are self-made than there are people who have inherited money. That is a fact. Look it up. People would like to tell you that, oh, you either got to inherit money, be a musician, or an athlete to be rich. And that's just not true. The majority of people are self-made, and they're not entertainers, and they're not athletes. That's a very small percentage. They just have what you call fame that makes you think that's all there is. But the majority of people that are millionaires in this country were self-made, encompassing all races. So I just want to give you a basic understanding that capitalism is the most freest, but it doesn't guarantee outcomes like socialism does. Now, socialism guarantees outcome, but it only can guarantee an outcome that is equally bad. This is where when you go to other countries, ones that have communism or socialism, everybody's equal, but at a lower level than what people would be in capitalism. Living standards, even though if you're at the bottom of the list, living standards in a capitalistic free market society, those people live better than the one that is guaranteed by socialism. It's a fact. Looked all over the world. Nothing has gotten people out of poverty faster than capitalism. It's just when somebody's boat rises, though it rises higher than other people, it just can't help but rise other people at the low end of the spectrum. And we see this. We see this in actuality. Billions of people out of poverty because of capitalism. Socialism keeps people at a certain level and makes sure that everybody's equally miserable. And we all know about slavery, right? We all know about slavery. You're just the dirt. So it's ironic to me, people who talk about the sins of slavery promote socialism, another form of slavery. Not as bad, they're not whipping. Well, I don't know. A lot of people would disagree who grew up in China and Russia during the heights of communism, that it was just functionally treating people like slaves, dictating what they were going to do for a living, and made them do it, and punished them if they didn't take their role in society that whoever's in charge deemed them to do. Capitalism is very flawed, but it is the most moral economical system. And its flaws that it's not fair and it's not equal. But you can determine that. Of course, there's crony capitalism, where capitalists go and pay off politicians where they can have advantages. But that's not capitalism, that's more corruption in government. I've always said, I don't mind when a capitalist is seeking the profit motive. When the capitalist is trying to make the best money, because good things come out of that. The problem is when governments, congressmen and politicians seek the profit motive, because that's not their job. That's not what they're doing. They're supposed to make decisions that are best for the people, Now they can free up free enterprise, or they can hinder it based on who gives them money. That's not their job. It is always worse when a politician is getting rich. This is what the biggest criticism. I always laugh. Donald Trump is some rich guy out of touch, but he lost money becoming president. All these other people, they got rich working for the government, being a politician. Donald Trump spent his own money. They make money, and we know it's not good. It's nefarious how they get their money and how they make choices based upon. They all go in poor and they come out super rich. That's a problem with our politicians. It's not a problem for the profit motive for a corporation. That's what they're supposed to do. It's not what the people, the politicians, are supposed to do. So I just want to give you a little background. You can make people equal, but you can only make them equally miserable. You can't make them equally successful. Therefore, most of the time, people are forced to live at a certain level. This is why those whose life is completely financed through government assistance, they always stay at this economical level. They always stay at this worker class. If you depend upon it, it keeps them from starving in the street. Yeah, granted, and I'm not saying we don't need it. We do need it. Having it for 2 years, that might be a problem. You're now making people living at this economical level without any ambition to do any more. Who would? If you can get it free, who would work? And we saw that after the pandemic. There's millions of jobs available, but people just don't want to do it because it's not better than the free. So those people have accepted for themselves a lower standard of living based on not having to work, which might be a higher standard to them, but it's not good for society. We can go for hours on the difference between capitalism, socialism, and slavery. But we're the most dynamic military, dynamic culture, dynamic economy, not perfect, but the most dynamic in human history because we believe in free market capitalism. Even though we have tried to control economies, our own economy at times, which makes things worse, we're still at our heart capitalist. And it's better to live here than anywhere else. No one's breaking down socialist countries' walls and trying to go over their borders. They're not. Nobody cares about that shit. They know if you come here, if you work hard, you can make something of yourself. It's happened over and over again. You got these people telling lies that you can't do what you want to do in this country because of systematic this and the problem with that, where some immigrant will come over, sell oranges on the corner, save that money, open up an ice cream cart, save that money, open up a little taco truck or a taco stand, save that money, open a taco truck, get a couple of taco trucks, maybe open a restaurant, and they're millionaires. It happens more than you think. And the person who makes the better tacos gets there first. And they were not privileged with the American education. It's not possible for them. It is possible. Government's not the solution. Government's the problem. Let people thrive. So I'm going to leave you with that today. Hey, I have plenty of shows. I got the Brightburn YouTube Academy. I got the Future Republic, where we talk about all things futurism. I have the Brightburn Society Facebook group, where we gather and we talk about mindsets and modalities about being successful an entrepreneur. I also have a free ebook for you. And If you need me to come speak at one of your events, you can find that in the QR code or jamessalazarmedia.com/sling, or some coaching things I'm coming out. You can come check those out. Whatever you need, you can find that in the QR code, or you can go to jamessalazar.com/sling. It will link you to everything I'm doing. I'm also getting a part of some affiliate marketing that I think is very powerful for you to make money, and that's coming out pretty soon. I just need to work out the kinks so I can present it to you, so you can have opportunities to expand your knowledge and wealth. So, my friends, this is James Salazar signing out of the Intellectual Anarchy. See you next week.